Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I have a super special guest and episode for you guys today. We're going to talk about how to scale your business using metrics and data and how to make it simple and accessible so you focus on what really moves the needle and we're really going to help you scale your business. I have an amazing guest with me today, Amy Traugh, who is a business strategist, best-selling author, and a host for the Motivated CEO podcast, who have scaled 3 companies ground up. Amy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for this conversation. I loved having you as a guest over on the Motivated CEO. So, having this conversation with you again, I'm super pumped for it.
Amazing. Before we jump in, can you tell us more about your story and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I am one of those people that's your unconventional entrepreneur. I actually come from a career in healthcare. I worked for 16 years as a physical therapist before the pandemic happened and I was furloughed. And I did that in order to raise my littles because who was going to teach a preschooler and kindergartner at the time? So I was thrown into this role and didn't really know what was next because I wasn't really satisfied in my job. I didn't hate it, but I just didn't love it. Over here in the States, healthcare has changed a lot and there was so much red tape and it wasn't fulfilling as it once was. So what I did is I took a leap of faith. I had it on my heart to start a business. I did it. I just took messy action, grew it, scaled it, sold it. And I'm like, wow, this was kind of crazy. And then I did it again. And then I did it a third time. And it's like, wait a minute, how is this happening? How am I achieving this rapid success? And I don't have an MBA. I don't have a business degree. Well, it turns out when I took the time to look at it, I was doing what I've done my whole career. I was leveraging data to drive my decisions. And that's exactly what I would do in physical therapy. A patient would come in, we'd evaluate them. Where are you now? Take some objective measures and set goals. Where do you want to be? Once we know those 3 key points, we can reverse engineer any goal and make it happen. And that's what I did in my business. And that's why I'm sitting right here today, able to have this conversation with you. Because if I can do it, so can you. It just comes down to strategically leveraging your data to drive your business decisions.
Amazing. And I know so many people listening thinking, oh my word, data analytics, it's so boring. It's so complex. I don't know where to start. What? So let's break it down for people to kind of how can this be simple and why is it so powerful?
Yeah. So data is simply information. I will tell you, almost every single client comes to me. They always tell me one thing. I'm not a numbers person. I get it. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be a numbers nerd buried in spreadsheets. When you leverage your data and you develop a system to do that, in less than 1 hour a month, you can take that zoomed out approach and see exactly what's working, what's not, and where those opportunities are for improvement. Because that's what data is. Everybody gets this data drama going on in their head, and it's just information. It's just a mirror reflecting back the reality of what is going on in your business. Because it's so easy to let our emotions take over and in the driver's seat. We're human, right? Like it's okay. But when we can objectively see, hey, here's some opportunities for improvement. I'm noticing some patterns. Maybe I don't need to be spending as much time on social media because a lot of my current clients are coming in through referrals, word of mouth. We're actually leveraging that data to work smarter instead of harder, saving ourselves time, saving ourselves frustration, saving ourselves energy. And this is what works. This is the key to a sustainable business that you can scale because it allows you to see exactly where that leak is in your funnel.
Yes, I mean, it really is all about the leaks in the funnel, isn't it? Where are
Right.
you losing clients? Where are you losing leads? So can you give us some examples? So I guess a lot of people listening will have an online business. They will be a coach, expert, consultant, a service provider. They will be selling some sort of a digital product or maybe a service. So where can people start? Maybe what can they do today to start even thinking about it?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So the First thing I want you to do is just pause and take a deep breath, because this can be very overwhelming at first. When you start talking numbers, people just shut down. So what I want you to do, I want you to actually sit down and write out your funnel from top of funnel to after the sale. I want you to write out step by step. Okay, how are people finding you? Then, how are you getting them onto a list that you own? How are you nurturing them? How are you selling to them? Are they converting? And then, are you retaining customers? So, really take the time to put your funnel onto paper so that you have that visual representation. Now, start to look at where are people falling off? And you can use data that's already in your business. That's the really cool thing. When you zoom out and look at the big picture, on social media, are people asking about your offers? Are people engaging with what you have? Are people clicking the link in your bio to go to your website? That's the really cool thing about a lot of these platforms. You can actually get information, even in your email platform. See who's opening your emails. See who's clicking on your emails. Are those your ideal clients? We can use that data then to nurture them on social media. So instead of social media being, for in my case, the Amy show, no, let's have a conversation. Let's humanize my brand. Let's just show some love to you. We can really start to use that data strategically to build those relationships, to nurture those warm leads that are already there versus I'm posting, and nobody's engaging. Well, it's called social media, and it can be a very valuable tool, but it shouldn't be the only tool that we're using. It's just a piece of the puzzle. So that's where I would advise starting. Just map out your funnel and then ask yourself, okay, let's get curious. We're not going to judge my funnel. We're not going to look and say, oh my gosh, nobody's buying. It's okay. This is just information. We're going to get curious and go, what patterns am I noticing? What trends am I seeing? What are people opening? What are people engaging with? That's what data really comes down to, is that curiosity and noticing those patterns. That will let you see opportunities that are hidden right in plain sight.
No, it's so beautiful. And it also helps you get focused on the time. I mean, I know so many people come to me and they say, oh my word, if I look at where I spend my time, all of it goes on social media. We know what social media does to us. First of all, it kind of like we disappear in a black hole in few hours because we start scrolling.
Yep.
And then majority of people will spend like 70 to 60% of time on social media. They'll be posting content every day, super consistently, stories, doing all the things. But actually, when it comes to getting clients, this doesn't, most people don't hardly even get any clients from social media. I mean, we know because people do need that longer period of nurturing. They need that intentionality for them in order to buy, especially high ticket offer. But what I love about this, it really helps you focus your time, isn't it?
It really does, because social media, it's so loud. It's so noisy. We're relying on an algorithm to show people our things. And you're right. We get stuck into the scroll mode because it releases that dopamine response. And it's designed to keep us on the platform. And really, we end up comparing ourselves. But the only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. And you can use your data to compare, okay, here's where I was last month, here's where I am this month. One of my favorite metrics to track is total growth. So people get so wrapped up in like follower counts, for example, like, oh, I have this many followers. Well, let's look at the total growth. What are we seeing in terms of revenue growth, in terms of profit margin? Where are we seeing this company grow versus, okay, I gained, 100 followers this month, but did that lead to sales? Let's look at those really crucial metrics that are actually showing us sustainable business growth versus, this is just another shiny object. And like you said, if people aren't converting on social media, we don't need to put as much stress on ourselves as we are when, hey, you know what? I get a lot of conversions from my email list. Let's start to double down there. Let's really throw some fuel on the fire and leverage our time there. And yes, social media is there to nurture, it's there to humanize, but let's not stress about it so much.
Yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it? So is looking, I love this so much. So what do you recommend that people take some every month they do this review and then
Mhm.
also do that? It sounds like from a lot of what you were saying is also looking at your client base and looking at, right, where do my clients actually come from?
Yes, that is the number one. If you are not tracking any metric in your business, I want you to start with that. Where are people coming from? Those dreamy, ideal clients that you have, whatever you want to call them, everybody has their own shtick for them. Your best clients, how did they find you? And if you don't know, ask them. Just ask them, hey, I'm doing some market research. I want to know, how did you find me? And the other really cool thing with technology is there's a lot of really cool tracking tools that you can set up on the back end. One of my favorite things, it's called a UTM, an urchin tracking module. And it's a little snippet of code. There's so many YouTube videos out there. Just go look it up on YouTube. It takes 2 seconds, but it creates this unique link. And then you go into your analytics and you can actually see, okay, you know what? This person came in via my podcast. This person came in via a swag bag opt in that I had for my book. Oh, this person came in via Instagram. So, what it does is it allows you to get really granular with that data and see exactly where people are coming from. So, I am not a super techie person. If I can do this, so can you. YouTube is a beautiful thing when it comes to learning how to do back end tech. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to see that information and then use that information to streamline your growth. So you're not spreading yourself thin, trying to be everywhere every time, because let's face it, it's exhausting.
That is so true. So UTM, we will certainly leave some links to the show notes for you guys to check them out. But it's so consistent. We recently had a fantastic agency owner for ads, and that was one of her big takeaways as well, is tracking, but also just having more custom things to track your data. And I think for people listening, especially as you start scaling your business, like how do you scale? The reality is the way you scale is you do less of what not doesn't matter and you do more of what actually drives growth. And this is the tool to allow you to do that. So
Yeah.
UTM, any other cool reports or cool things that people can check out and consider, or is it unnecessary?
You know, it's one of those things when you're first starting out, simple is sustainable. Don't go and get the overcomplicated CRM that's telling you everything and its brother. Start simple, because if it's so complicated, you're not going to use it. And that's really the way you scale a business, by keeping it simple, by not overcomplicating. And I think that's where we get things wrong so often with tracking, with data, with analytics. We want to know everything. And then we end up in analysis paralysis. We don't know what to do with it. We know these numbers are there, but then how do we leverage them? And it gets to be overwhelming. So start simple. For most entrepreneurs, when you're first starting, look at the data that's already there. Go, like we said, into those social media analytics. Go into your email analytics. Go into your website analytics. Start with what you have first. You can always add more on as you grow, as you scale, as you outsource more. But at the beginning, a simple Google Sheet is going to work for 99% of entrepreneurs. So if I say anything, it is start simple, because simple is sustainable. Do not overcomplicate this.
I love this so much. And is that so I think this is so powerful, so powerful. What a great message. And do you do that for your podcast, for your business? How do you think of data in your business?
Oh my gosh, data is literally my roadmap. Data is my GPS. So if I wanted to drive, I'm in Ohio, if I wanted to drive across the country to California, I could get in my car and just start driving. But it's going to take me a long time to get there, because I'm going to take a lot of wrong turns. I'm going to take a lot of detours. because I can kind of get an idea. My car tells me what direction I'm headed. I know I need to go west, but beyond that, I don't know where I'm going. So, what data does is it acts like your GPS. It keeps you on track. It recalculates when you take a wrong turn so that you can get back on the most efficient route to your goal. That's what data is. That is how data can help you and get you to your destination quickly, easily, and drama free. It gets you out of those traffic jams really quick.
So good. So tell us, our listeners, how can they work with you? What offers do you have in the business? Tell us more about that.
Sure. So if you are just starting out with data and you're like, you know what, I know that I need to track my data. I know I need to leverage it strategically. My signature metrics mastery program will help you do that in 4 weeks. It literally is the bread and butter of what I do and will get you from where you are to where you want to be in a way that is simple and sustainable. We get past the data drama. We help you figure out what metrics you need to track for your business. And then we develop that monthly plan that in less than an hour a month, you can use this data to grow your business. It works. So that is my favorite place. And then over on my podcast, The Motivated CEO, we dive into all things business strategy because I just love strategy. I love talking to amazing guests like yourself, Elena. We are here to demystify this world of business growth because we often sell ourselves short. We say, oh, everybody else can do it. They're more qualified. No. If you are a solopreneur specifically, come on over, take a listen because we are diving into strategies, sustainable strategies, actionable strategies that will get the needle moving in your business.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think so many people will benefit from it. And what I think is the most important thing out of all of this, it really helps to identify those needle movers. I think as we described, a lot of people think, well, I just need more leads. Well, the question is,
Right.
do you need more leads? Isn't it? This is what data allows you to see. You might have a messaging and a conversion problem. You might have already people on your email list, but they're not buying. So actually, it's your messaging that's a problem. It's the funnel, it's the sales process that needs to be fixed first. And that's where you will see a lot of growth unlocked. I see a lot of people who will come to me and they already have big email lists. They're sometimes huge, but they're not actually generating the type of sales they would expect. So actually, it's tweaking things inside it that we can then fix. So I think it's such a powerful method and what an amazing thing you do. So guys, go check out and listen the Motivated CEO podcast and definitely dive into Amy's world. I think this 4-week program is incredible. And what I love about this is going to really support entrepreneurs at all stages of their business. If you can get this now when you're a solopreneur, well, it's going to serve you so well when you have teams of people, when you scale. In fact, it is the only way to scale in the future. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Amy. It was an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena.